Man, you hold out way better than Ryan does. I was waiting for you to make a comment about, like, are you starting it yet? So I can interrupt you, and you just didn't.
I have an iron will.
Did you did you know that was what I was going for?
I had a feeling.
Oh, you've listened to our other show. You know I do that sometimes.
And I also just have no problem with absolute silence.
I just thought because I had said I was about to intro it, and then just didn't.
I thought about it, and then I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see what happens.
How long were you willing to wait?
I don't know. I didn't think about it.
God damn it. Hey, Joe, welcome to the Infinite Meme Machine, a Destiny podcast where we talk about Destiny stuff every week that we inform people is new.
Yeah, it's definitely the show we're doing.
Yeah. We got a lot to talk about today, don't we?
Yeah, this might be a long one, so everybody should strap in.
But before we get into that, his name is Joe, or How Tall It Would.
And his name is Jan, or Jan.
Or Matt is my real name. Thank you. Before we get into the show, I just want to ask everyone, tell your friends about us. If you have friends or your clan that play Destiny with you, let them know about us and tell them to give us a listen because word of mouth is huge for up-and-coming podcasts like ours. Joe, what have you been doing in Destiny?
Taking a break from doing strikes.
Funny, that's what I was doing today, was doing strikes.
Oh, well, I mean, now that the double rewards is gone, I am taking time to look at anything other than that portion of the EDZ.
I did exactly 3 strikes last weekend. Or last week.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, I just couldn't be bothered.
You're probably also already filthy on materials anyway.
I've already got 16 of the Ascendant shards anyway, so why should I care?
Yeah, exactly. So what happens when you go flawless every week?
Basically, yeah. Which I've gotten bored with that too. But I did finally finish today. I went to the Dreaming City and did my last Ascendant Challenge time trial that I've been missing.
Oh shit!
For forever. So that's taken care of. All of my listening to Shuro Chi stuff is done. So now all I have to do is convince 2 other nerds to come help me summon those secret bosses in the first area, and I need to do a solo flawless Shattered Throne, and then I'm done with the Dreaming City. And then the moon is the only destination I still need triumphs for.
Yeah, sitting around for those spooky circles to summon the hidden boss is be pretty fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I already did that.
Yeah, I need to do that too. Anyway, we should have a lot to talk about, and we should get into it.
Yeah. So a couple of quick things before we get to the really meaty stuff. So we kind of got a transmog update, which is a don't ask about it because there is no ETA currently. If we hear anything anytime soon, it will be after Beyond Light.
Yep.
And that it is still in the planning phase. Honestly, this doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, that's kind of a major thing to add to the game.
Yeah, and I've been telling pretty much everyone who mentions anything about transmog being soon that they're crazy.
And DMG just went on Twitter and confirmed you were right.
Hopes up. Yeah, no, I'm not that it matters, but yeah, I was definitely right about that.
This is your I told you so moment.
Yeah.
I mean, this will probably be the biggest thing since Infusion, right? Which came in Taken King. We didn't have it in Vanilla, Dark Below, or House of Wolves.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's probably a lot of complications with how they can get the system set up to begin with. Plus, it sounds like there's a chance that it's probably going to be monetized in some way too. So they got to figure out how to balance that. And there's going to be
frustrating.
Yeah, I really hope they opt to not monetize it. my hope that I've been holding on to since I think the last time they talked about transmog, they had mentioned something about silver cost, and my hope has been that by that they mean something along the lines of like the fact that universal ornaments are still going to exist and that they would be folded into being a part of that system.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Like anything any more like any deeper of a look into it than that is just ridiculous speculation with no basis.
Yeah. And the way you worded it, it sounds like maybe we'll hear like a little bit or something before then, but nothing substantial.
Yeah. Though, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd rather them be tight-lipped about it until they really know what they're going to deliver than say something and get people disappointed.
Yeah. And that's something that they themselves have said they try to avoid as much as possible.
And then in other insubstantial updates, the new update 2.9.2.1, which
fixed issues that I didn't know were either of them were issues.
So if you somehow, some way, have been unlucky enough to not get the refurbished Black Armory shader, it now drops 100% of the time when dismantling any Black Armory refurbished weapons acquired from completing Forge Ignition activities. And they fixed a crash that could occur when too many arrows were shot into a Titan's barricade.
Like, I have a feeling that probably wasn't on PC.
I want to see a clip of that happening.
Yeah.
Like how I just have this image in my head of this barricade that's filled with like a few hundred arrows. I don't know.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it after the last update they did, but when they fixed sleeper nodes, I spent 2 or 3 hours running around Mars with 2 of our friends and finally got all mine. So the solution works. Just make sure you go pop open those nodes instead of just deleting the keys. That way it crosses it off the list, and eventually you'll get all your things.
Yep, the system does work now, but it still may take a little bit of time depending on how much you still have left to get.
Yeah. Hey Joe, how do you feel about PvP?
When I'm playing with people who are better than me and can carry me, I have a lot of fun.
Well, good news for you then. Iron Banner's next week with triple Valor.
Yeah, it's time to dust off the old 6 stack and win 20 games in a row.
While we still can.
Yeah.
Because they're taking that 6 stack stomp away in Beyond Light with freelance Iron Banner.
Yeah, though, who knows? I mean, if you go in with a good enough 6 stack, you'll probably still bully the shit out of people.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. There were a lot of 6 stacks we stomp anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did confirm there are going to be more events with extra rewards from Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible between now and Beyond Light. So we might see another double loot Nightfall between now and then.
Yeah, but probably won't be with Lake of Shadows as the strike, though. So.
Yeah. You can get that done in 10 minutes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now, this is the exciting part. And I think you might know more about how it works than me. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know if but yeah. So the overwhelming majority of the TWAB today is dedicated to giving us a little bit of a breakdown on some of the back-end changes that are happening with the game going into Beyond Light. So a few of the things that are really interesting. So they are changing how do they specifically word it? They're changing which section of like the scripting for the engine, like which node essentially they're using for missions, which in theory will give them more freedom in design, more freedom in AI design within those missions, and just should give their design team a lot more tools to work with for designing the more like designing quests and stuff like that. So
makes
the
sense.
parts of the game that people spend the most time with, maybe getting a lot of love here. I would imagine this should impact strikes as well as just your normal story missions. So we'll see. And it was noted that this is actually the reason why we are losing prophecy until sometime in, it seems, December this year, because this change broke prophecy so bad that they just have to remove it from the game until they can fix it.
So I want to go on record and say that I was completely wrong, that it's because it's tied into the Reckoning.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been... I might have bet money on it being because it was spaghetti coated to the Reckoning, but no, apparently it just really, really doesn't like the new changes they're making.
Yeah. And the knights in there are already snipers, so if this makes the AI better, good luck.
Ugh. Oh, please.
The other fun thing, I don't know if it's a direct consequence of it, but they wrote it as something under that portion of the TWAB. You'll be able to team up with in the tower without leaving the tower and coming back to it.
So, I wonder how hard this was to implement for them, because it is. I mean, like, we'll have to see it. Like, is it going to be you're just both in the tower and it instantly links you up and you don't have to load or anything, or what? I don't know. We'll see. It is nice to have, though.
Yeah.
It actually makes trolling around the tower and looking for people to group up with viable, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the thing, though, is I look at that, and as being part of a larger clan, I'm like, I don't think that helps us too much because we tend to just meet up in orbit before stuff. But there's a lot of solo and players and small clans that'll benefit from this a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm. Though, somebody needs to teach those people to use all of the other community tools that already exist to make this not a problem to begin with.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, I can't say this is a bad thing, so ain't nothing wrong with it.
I just would like to note that we are just now entering the second page of our 5 pages of show notes for this, so there's a lot to cover still.
Oh, God.
And that they're also updating their pipeline.
Yeah, so this is honestly the big thing that we've kind of had a feeling was one of the main reasons DCV was coming into place.
Yeah.
And in case anyone doesn't remember, DCV being the Destiny content vault where all of your favorite, in air quotes, content is being tucked away
no,
for
not
a
the
little
Infinite
while.
Forest. Anything but the Infinite Forest.
Yeah. So now, I mean, a lot of this is just like numbers that I guess are cool to know. Like they talked about how before it could take up to and even over 24 hours for them to be able to push out new builds. And if anyone knows anything about not even just game design, but design in general, you're pushing out new builds for things all the time. So the idea of having to wait 24 hours every time you do any sort of update that needs to be pushed to the whole team sounds like a fucking nightmare.
I moved some of these plants on Nessus 6 inches to the left. I'll show you guys it in a day and a half.
Oh God, that makes me want to cry. That's just so awful.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something the game is sorely needed.
Yeah, so they've said that they've been able to get it down to about 12 hours apparently, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
For them, obviously. Well, hopefully all of these changes will result in that additional time resulting in more and better content for us. But of course, that's something we just have to wait and see. Sometimes development is weird and it doesn't always work out that way, but there's no reason not to be hopeful about it. I would say the single most important note in the TWAB is that with all of the changes that they're making on the back end and all of the changes that they're making in the engine itself to make some of these pipeline changes happen. When Beyond Light comes out, you will have to re-download everything.
Yeah.
So they are going to enable preload the evening of November 9th, which they say should give everyone at least 10 hours to download before it launches.
And I mean, the biggest takeaway from that is just leave your console or your PC on overnight while you sleep that day. And we understand it's like Christmas. Like, it'll be really hard to sleep that night. But do it so the game has time to bake in the oven that is your gaming console.
Yeah, and it's going to suck for some people because I know there are plenty of people out there who have not been blessed with having decent internet or even serviceable internet.
Yeah.
And 10 hours is not enough time to download a game that, even though while being significantly smaller than it was, is... they said, I think 30 to 40%, depending
Smaller,
on platform.
Yeah. 59 or 71 gigs, depending on the platform.
Yep. Which, guessing 71 is PC and 59 is both consoles.
I'd assume, because I guarantee you PC stores higher quality textures.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's still a lot of data for some people. So, it sucks, but, I mean, this should be a good thing in the long run. So, for anyone who is affected by this, get over it, I guess. I don't know, maybe that's mean, but to be honest, I don't really care.
I mean, that's the thing is like, I mean, yeah, it's like 10 hours is a long time, and also, you know, you were gonna have to install a lot anyway. Like,
yeah, and they are letting us know pretty far in advance, so you know, if you can't, if you can't enjoy. Or like if you can't adjust whatever plans you may have had for that day around this, well, sorry, I guess.
And also, you know, if you live by yourself or you are the controller of the house, just get that gigabit, dude.
Seriously.
Instead of it taking an hour out of your day, it takes an hour out of your sleep. If that. Gigabit's the best.
Yeah. Gigabit is...
We're wasting too much time. They fixed faces. Well, they're redoing faces.
Fix. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so apparently they rebuilt their face system, whatever that means exactly. They said that apparently it may result in your Guardians looking slightly different than they did before. So it seems like some face features may be more significantly changed than others. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I've seen a lot of people asking about whether or not this means that we will be able to recustomize our faces, which has already been shot down. And apparently the idea of beards is already also a thing that has been shot down as not coming.
Wait, officially?
Yeah, apparently.
Where? I don't know. This seems like a step toward it. And I desperately want my character to have a beard so he looks more like me. And if they are standing behind this idea, where do they say it? Our original system, no. A long-term goal of enabling everyone to imagine themselves as their guardian. If they actually want to follow through with that, give me a goddamn beard.
Yeah, if I would love to be able to put a humongous fucking mountain man beard.
Yep.
On my
If I can have one in real life like I do, why can't I have one on my guardian? Oh, the beard won't fit in his helmet. Like, dude, the X-Files have these horns that fit in their helmet somehow. Why can't a beard? Maybe I just flip it up over my mouth and nose like a mask.
Yep.
You don't know. Let me be my guardian.
Nah, dude, you shove it down into your fucking armor.
Yeah, that too. Like,
yeah, just rolls down.
Let me live.
Goes down your neck, rolls down onto your chest.
They relit EDZ, and that's shot. That was cool too.
I'm pretty excited to see what these look like.
Yeah.
They said that they are going to try to get us some shots of what some of these changes look like for EDZ and Nessus. Apparently, the lighting team has wanted to touch up these locations for quite a while, and since they are the only Year 1 destinations that are sticking around, they were like, fuck it, might as well make them look up to the same quality they expect from destinations now versus what they considered acceptable before. So this is pretty cool. Yeah, hope we get to see some pictures soon.
Yeah, same. And the last thing they note on there is to go check out an AMA, which you can find a link to that in the TWAB. I haven't read it yet, but I've got it open in another tab because I really do want to read about it. Where the Destiny engineering manager, Chris Kasanovich, and the guy who wrote the article, David Aldridge, did a couple months ago. And I think that'd be an interesting read.
Man, we are through with the TWAB, and there is still so
also the TWAB, if you care, new emblems for Fashion Show, featured artist, movie of the week, Bungie bounty. They look cool, and if you want the current ones, you still get a couple weeks for them. They said that those will all be available at some point between now and November. Movie of the week, obviously, but that means they're probably going to do a fashion show and another Bungie bounty or two. And yeah, that cleans up the TWAB. Get it out of here.
So,
100% chance of snow, you said?
Yeah, now we get to my favorite part of this whole thing, to be honest.
The first two paragraphs are very interesting, though. On the frozen moons of Europa, Aramis, the fallen Kel, exploits a dark power to grow her army's strength. The Vanguard's attention is demanded. The allure of this ancient power clouds your focus and tempts you with darkness. Stasis whispers in your ear even before you arrive. You touch down on the snow-covered clearing, the distress signal from Variks still lingering in your ears. And the rest of it, and it goes on, the little bit of ambience to set up the tone for the article is really cool. And then they talk about it.
So, we're getting dynamic weather.
Yes. Which I think the closest we've had is whether it's raining or not on Titan.
Yeah. This is really cool. I am very, very excited about this. So they said that there are going to be 3 levels: clear, light storm, and heavy storm. As the storm gets more intense, visibility will drop, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
And it's actually something, if you look in the trailer, which we'll get to here in a little bit, you can actually see one of the instances with this low visibility, which is that little shot where like you can't see anything, and then they ADS with a thermal scope and you can fucking see everybody.
Yep. Which
is really, really cool. And the best part of this at the end of this article, and if you are remotely interested in like the technical side of how they implement all of this stuff, there is a lot of really, really cool info in this article. And I suggest you absolutely go back and read it.
Yeah, it is a cool article.
But the best thing at the end is they actually gave us a little audio snippet of like what it sounds like to what it will sound like to just be sitting touched down on Europa with like in the middle of one of these storms, and it is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm really excited to hear this. One detail. So, a lot of people I think don't know this. If you look up while you're on Titan, the rain actually like lands on your helmet and trickles down it. I'm curious if they'll do it in this game where when snow hits your helmet, it stays a snowflake for a second and then melts.
Ooh,
like it would in real life.
That would be really cool.
I think you know exactly. Like you'd see it a lot if you were sitting in your car during a light snow. That this is all assuming that you come from an area that has snow typically. I know a lot of people in California who have never seen it in real life.
It's a sad life to live.
It is. Snow is great. I love it. It gives me. I was so upset this winter, dude. I did like here in Pittsburgh. There was almost no snow. It was here like a couple times, and none of it was enough for me to justify putting the winter wheels on my Fiesta. I was so upset. They're still sitting in my basement doing no good.
Yeah, down here where I'm at, we normally get like at least one really good snow every year.
Mm-hmm.
And last winter we just didn't get a single one, and it was absolutely miserable.
Yep. And it's starting to get cold now too, so I'm excited. Hoodie weather. Yay!
Yeah, for the rare occasions we actually get to go outside.
So in case you can't tell, we're saving the best for last. And we're not there yet. The first thing we have to talk about before we get to the trailer is the map of Europa that Bungie posted at bungie.net. And you click on Beyond Light, and then you click on Europa. And at the bottom of it, you will see the full map of Europa with all 5 zones.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah. At the north, you have the Eventide Ruins, which once home to thousands of settlers, and now all that remains of Clovis Bray's colony. Down below that, you have the Cadmus Ridge, a snowy landscape, and the last known location of the buried Bray Exoscience Facility. To the right of that, you have the Asterion Abyss. The Vex structures visible on the surface are only the tip of the iceberg. And below that, you have a choke point called Charon's Crossing, the site of Europa's communication center, and the origin of a distress signal sent by Variks. And below that, you have Beyond. An old friend awaits us in this clearing that overlooks the conflict between light and dark. Yeah, and it looks dope. I noted this later on in here. So if you look at this map, right above where it says Eventide Ruins, and to the right of where it says Beyond, you can see circles in the map. Those are exactly the same size as the strike markers on the current maps. So I think that's where the 2 strikes are going to be. And based on the size of those, the surface of this place alone rivals Nessus.
This place is absolutely massive. It's going to be so cool to actually get in here and mess around. And we don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a pretty extensive underground section of this map too.
There are probably 2 of them. The Vex one at the Asterion Abyss, and the Bray Exoscience place at Cadmus Ridge. And Eventide Ruins probably has a lot of verticality with abandoned buildings, and there's a couple shots in the trailer where we see people running along support beams and stuff like that really high up in the air.
So I'm guessing... So here's what my hope is. I'm really, really hoping that Cadmus Ridge is where the entrance to the raid is, and that we go full Vault of Glass, where you actually load into the patrol zone to start the raid.
Maybe. I mean, that's what I said on there too, is that there's a big circle there's a bigger circle to the left of it that I'm pretty sure is where the raid symbol is going to be.
Oh, God. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
What are some other notes here? The Eventide Ruins, they remind me a lot of Freehold. So when you go to the site, there are plus marks on each of the locations that shows you a picture from them. And the image from the Eventide Ruins reminds me a lot of Freehold from Destiny 1 on Mars.
Yeah, it really does.
Asterion Abyss, we see a lot of that, and the Cadmus Ridge in the trailers, I think, with all the Vex structures and all the Brace structures. Cadmus Ridge, yeah, probably the location. That circle's probably where we'll fly into the raid. Charon's Crossing is probably where the first mission's going to be, at least somewhere near there. And my other theory on that is it might end up being a sanctuary type place, where it's kind of a safe harbor where we talk to the planetary vendor, who at this point I'm betting is Variks.
Yeah, and I think they say Charon's Crossing is the origin of the distress signal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it's pretty small, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing with the maps for Destiny, sometimes they're a little bit deceiving
Yeah.
in terms of what is and what isn't playable space.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for us to have a lot of playable area that's just straight up off what looks like the playable section of the map.
Yeah. They did it with the moon.
And Dreaming City a lot too.
Yeah. The one that really interests me, though, is Beyond. First of all, it can't be a coincidence that the area where you can see the pyramid from shares a name with the mission at the end of Shadowkeep, where you go into the pyramid.
Yeah, no, there's no way, right? Like that's they know what they're doing there.
Yeah, and it says, "Old friend, I guarantee you, it's a stranger." To repeat, it says, "An old friend awaits us in this clearing that overlooks the conflict between light and dark." Old friend's definitely the stranger, but what does it mean? Overlooks the conflict? Like, what's going to be happening there?
God,
Thoughts?
I'm so excited.
Oh, you're just not gonna. You're just gonna say you're excited?
I mean, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
To be honest, I cannot wait to actually finally touch down.
Yeah.
I'm
excited.
There's so much map here, and if this is anything like how the Dreaming City was, which is kind of what my hope is,
Just secrets everywhere.
Are going to be in for such a treat.
Yeah.
With Europa.
Yeah, and my final thing on that was, including, like, just surface area, it's probably close to Nessus. But including the underground areas, it wouldn't surprise me if this place ends up being closer to almost an EDZ level of, like, playable space. Like, this place looks huge.
Yeah, I might be misremembering, but I feel like I've actually seen them say somewhere already that Europa is the largest play space.
Oh, they might have. I don't know. We'll have to look for that. Here's what I want to dive into, though, is the names of some of these places. The easiest one to get through is Charon's Crossing. Do you know who Charon is?
I am vaguely familiar.
He was the ferryman of Hades. He was the one who drove the boat that would take you across the river Styx, which means that Charon's Crossing pretty much literally turns into the river Styx, the line between life and afterlife. So it's kind of interesting. The placement of it leads you into Beyond, where you see the conflict between light and dark. I'm curious if there's any connection there. But the more interesting ones that jumped out at me are the Asterion Abyss and Cadmus Ridge. Do you know? Does Asterion or Cadmus mean anything to you?
Aside from the names being familiar, no.
How are they familiar to you?
I know they're tied to mythology, and that's about it.
So, Asterion refers to two related Greek myths. There was Asterion the First and Asterion the Second. Asterion the First was the mythological king of he was one of the two mythological kings of Crete. Notably, he married Europa after she was kidnapped by Zeus and became stepfather to Europa and Zeus's 3 children. So there's a connection there. But also, Asterion II was the other name for Europa and Zeus' son, Minos. And do you know what he went on to do or become?
The fucking...
He became the Minotaur at the center of the labyrinth.
That's the word I was looking for, yes.
So it's kind of interesting that Asterion I was married to Europa, and Asterion II became a Minotaur, which is a Vex type. And Asterion Abyss is where the Vex are on this planet. Connection?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And the other one was Cadmus, first king of Thebes in Greek mythology. Notably, however, he was Europa's brother. And when Zeus kidnapped her, Cadmus set out to return her to their home of Phoenicia, but he didn't end up doing it because he didn't want to piss off the gods. And then he went on to have some adventures with Harmonia, and a lot of people got killed behind him until he killed a water dragon. That pissed off more people. He built a city, got destroyed. And then the gods were like, and got pissed, so sick and tired of pissing off the gods that he's like, dude, just turn me into a dragon. And so he started growing scales, and Harmonia said, do the same. And she started growing scales. Thoughts? Discuss.
Mythology is fucking cool.
Yeah. And yeah, these connections here. I'm not going to conject too far into what that might mean for what the story's going to be. But I can see where they got the names from and how they're related. Granted, here's the thing. They might have literally just picked the names based on the fact that they're related to Europa. Because Asterion, the first, was her husband and Cadmus was her brother. They might have just thought that of her relatives, those ones were the ones that sounded the coolest. But I don't think that's Bungie's. That's how Bungie works.
Well, and then there's one other thing that wouldn't surprise me. And I would have to check. So, for instance, sometimes the locations on some of these destinations are actually just straight up called, or rather named after what actual places are named, like, in our world already.
Such as?
For example, the main asteroid that is that it's like where the Queen's throne is, or whatever, in the reef.
Yeah,
is like an actual physical named asteroid that we have in the world. Like, it's the biggest asteroid in the asteroid belt. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, and like Nessus is a real centaur. Yeah, and they do that, but like, I don't know if anything on Europa's ever been named, has it?
It's a good question.
Regions on Europa. Thera and Thrace are two of them. We have too much dead air. Say something.
No, I think all of these names are actually original. It's not like, because I think some of the locations on the moon are similar too. Or at least not necessarily locations that we go to, but locations that are mentioned in lore on the moon.
From what I can find, none of the
none of these ones are.
No.
Okay, that's really cool. Yeah, then that even more backs up what you're looking at here, which is really, really awesome. I mean, like, they could just be having fun with mythology, which Bungie does semi-frequently. I mean, everyone does. It's not just a Bungie thing. But either way, it's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And now for the best part.
So we got a new trailer.
We did, and it is awesome. I've watched it a bunch.
Yeah, I lost count of how many times I've watched this trailer since it came out.
We open with establishing shots of different parts of the destination. And we hear Variks of House Judgment begin saying stuff, such as, "Look beyond the frozen wastelands and do not lose your way. What do you hope to find here?" And you want to know what's really interesting to me about those, Joe?
What?
Is that you can take each of those lines on their own and they make sense as questions or statements, which makes me think that everything we heard there is all idle vendor dialogue.
Absolutely.
Which would therefore say Variks will be our planetary vendor for this destination.
Yeah, it makes sense. I can't see any reason why Variks wouldn't be the planetary vendor. And yeah, I didn't notice it at first until you had mentioned it.
Do we have to, by the way, do we have to talk about the fact that a lot of people want his head?
I mean, there are people that still want to kill Uldren again.
Yeah, true.
And those people are equally wrong. So,
and I will say to all of those people, I think you missed the entire point of Forsaken. That vengeance is not always the answer. And that it can lead you down a dark path.
Also, Variks isn't the one who fucking shot Cade, so it doesn't matter.
No, but he opened the prison. But who are the Awoken to imprison all these people?
No, and also, yeah, I don't know. I don't want this whole podcast to turn into a breakdown.
I want to go down this road. If you think the prison of elders was a justifiable place and that they were justified in keeping all of these sentient creatures imprisoned in there, by extension, you also agree that the American imperialism is justified, where we go into other people's countries and dictate our laws at them, because it's the same thing. Who are the Awoken to become the Reef Police or the Universe Police and put these people behind bars because they disagree with what they do? I think Variks was a freedom fighter, and I will stand by him.
Things are getting pretty spicy in here.
At 18 seconds in, we see Gorgon/Goblin hybrid things. We see Harpies with legs.
So, I'm gonna say it. Those things are fucking spooky.
Yeah, right? They set off the alarm bells.
Yeah, I don't like them. One thing I noticed, their legs are just like the way they're set up are like talons on a bird.
Okay.
Where it's got the three in front and then like the one, like the fourth sticking out of the back.
Which makes sense seeing how they attack.
Yeah.
Which you'll see later in the trailer.
I wonder if they are just like a dive bombing melee attack, or I wonder if they're like aerial suicide units.
I mean, they're big. Like you see it later in the trailer.
Pretty big.
They're like the size of some of the larger Minotaurs we've seen.
Yeah. Either way, they look really cool.
Yeah. Did you catch the next thing at 24 seconds? That was Variks that we saw?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Looks like he's still the same size, still has the robot arms, but his helmet's different. It has all the same markings. They're all identical, but the coloring's different. So, at some point, he got a makeover.
Yeah, a little bit. He, has to change his look up every once in a while.
Yeah, and as you noted...
Probably got a little stale.
And as you noted when we were talking about the 100% chance of snow, we see why at 31 seconds. We see why a thermal scope is going to be really useful. Where there's a bunch of Vex that you can't see until you scope in because of the storm. Then at 35, we see what I mentioned earlier about a player running along something high up in the air above a bunch of ruined buildings, which I assume is at the Eventide Ruins, which means that it goes up real high. And then at 45 seconds, the stranger starts speaking. She talks about Europa being a home to darkness and how we can explore it, and it'll teach us how to fight the darkness. We'll see how that works out for us. But considering in 2 years we're getting Lightfall, I have a feeling we're not going to destroy the darkness this year. And then right after that, we see one of the Fallen mechs from Scourge of the Past. They are not letting those go.
I mean, it is a really cool design.
It is. And they're huge. Like we see later in the trailer, a hunter going up against one. They're massive.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be similar to the spider tanks.
Yeah.
With how you damage them. Because it's like there's a shot in the trailer where you see one of them opened up.
Yeah.
And it's got like the exposed engine. It looks literally it looks like it's just ripped from a spider tank and put vertically, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure that's how in lore, like what that boss is made of, isn't it? Just like a bunch of tanks.
I think so. I don't know. That's around 122 in the trailer. Around 52 seconds, though, we see something really interesting for the lore nerds out there. We see inside a tube, we see an old style Exo that looks kind of like 801 that had with a Vex Goblin in there with her. That they're all hooked up together. So are we going to finally get confirmation that Exo technology is based on Vex technology?
So, as a huge lore nerd, I screamed at my computer monitor.
Yeah.
When that shot in the trailer came up.
So it's confirmed. You're confirming it right now?
Yes, I'm confirming the lore that I have not seen for myself yet.
Cool. You heard it here first, folks. At 1 minute and 1 second, we see a rocket explode in midair against enemies. Is grenades and horseshoes coming back for rockets as a random rolled perk? I hope so.
It's either that or remote detonation.
True. But grenades and horseshoes is better.
Well, I mean,
because, that's one of the many reasons that rocket launchers were great in D1.
If anyone has tried to use Deathbringer before, imagine using that, but without the homing balls. Yeah, it would suck ass. So yeah, hopefully it's grenades and horseshoes.
Another interesting thing, at 1:05 in, we see a fallen Vandal using the Titan stasis super, where he slams his fists into the ground and causes a bunch of stasis to go out toward a bunch of Guardians. So apparently we're not the only ones getting super stasis powers.
Finally, a worthy opponent.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're still going to run over them. 114 is the one. 114 in the trailer is something I really want to talk about, though, because we see a bunch of things. First of all, we see a bunch of frames fighting alongside the players, but we also see 5 sets of the diamonds from the Divinity puzzle, where there's a red and orange, or an orange and black diamond, exactly like the ones from Divinity, from the Divinity quest in Guardian of Salvation. But then above them are 5 bright white diamonds. So I'm curious what those are going to be for.
Yeah. It could be. It's either something as simple as a reuse of a decent asset, or as deep as ripping that mechanic from the raid and putting it in a mission or strike. Honestly, I'm fine with either one.
Yeah. And I've heard the people the talk about how, maybe that's shots from the raid. Never, not once, have they included anything from the raids in any promotional material. So that we'll shoot that one down right there. Anything you've seen so far, you can pretty safely assume is not part of the raid. And the last thing, and you mentioned the fallen mech, but immediately after that we see what we also mentioned, the Gorgon/Goblin/Harpy doing its kamikaze jump attack. And that's a shot where you can really see how big it is. It is a big boy. And then the last shot is a hunter approaching a Vex gate surrounded by pyramidion-like structures. But then around that is fallen equipment, and around that is Deepstone Crypt equipment. So whatever the Deepstone Crypt was studying, Aramis apparently wants in on it. Discuss.
So my excitement for Beyond Light has been building lately. This trailer pushed me over the edge. I did not think I could get more all in on Beyond Light, and then this trailer dropped, and I somehow found a way to get more all in on Beyond Light.
Yeah.
Everything from the lore implications of the creation of the Exo potentially being tied to the Vex, which is already a thing a lot of people have kind of been kicking around before. To see that potentially getting confirmed here is really, really cool. And there's so much that much more well-versed lore people can talk about. With that, honestly, God, Europa looks like it's going to be a fun place.
I can't wait. I'm so ready to get down there and get some snow under my boots and shoot Fallen and Vex and Darkness dudes if they're there.
There's another thing. So I don't remember where it is in the trailer. At one point in the trailer, we see a Fallen dude shooting what looks like some sort of ice I-beam out of his face.
Yeah. I don't know. I was going to mention that and I didn't. I don't know why.
So, it looks like there may be multiple different Fallen enemies that are using different stasis type abilities.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Considering that the design on all of these Fallen looks the same. So I'm really, really curious how they're going to register, with armaments and barrier mods, for instance.
Yeah.
because
That's a good question there. Are Fallen Barriers gonna work on them?
I really hope they still just count as normal Fallen, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything, just all of the different locations all look so cool. I love dealing with having just straight up new enemies between the new tank thing, new/old, and whatever this new Vex motherfucker,
The Harpy that can wear jeans.
Yeah. I'm really excited about those. Having Fallen with new attacks is always going to be exciting. I'm hoping it's more than just the two we saw.
This is now the third time the Fallen have gotten a new way to fight us.
I'm all for it.
So maybe this time when we get crits, they won't punish us for it. Looking at you, Siva. We've been running for a while, so I think we should about close it up here. This was a long episode.
Yeah, it was a long episode.
Yeah, and we had fun doing it, and we hope you had fun listening. Joe, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at How Tall It Would, where mostly I just repost stupid shit and don't really talk about Destiny that much. So yeah,
You might have to change that when we become internet famous for being Destiny people.
Yeah, maybe. And then you can also follow me on Twitch at How Tall It Would, where I do lots of fun speedrunning stuff. I'm currently speedrunning The Messenger, climbing up the leaderboards as fast as I can. It's a fun time. It's a good game. We like to just sit there, chill, watch me be bad at the game, and then eventually not be bad at the game.
And when he eventually gets a world record, he will, I believe he went on record saying that he will buy a beer for everyone who follows him at that time.
Yeah, sure, why not?
You can find me on Twitter at several places. You can find me, my personal one, at MattRossVO. You can also find my Twitch one at Janjinkle on there. You can find me on Twitch at Janjinkle. You can find me on YouTube at Janjinkle. And you can also listen to another podcast I have called Pop Culture Unboxing, where me and my friends Ryan and Zach talk about everything pop culture. This week, we had a discussion about whether or not you could play Werewolf in Heaven. Since lying is a sin and there's no sin in heaven, how do you play werewolf? If you want to find out the answer to that, go listen. You can find that anywhere podcasts are sold, or you can go follow it on Twitter at Meme Machine Cat, or at Pop Culture Unbox. You can follow this show at Meme Machine Cast on Twitter. And please tell your friends.
Please, please, please tell your friends.
Yeah.
It is I know we said it at the top and we're going to say it again. It is a absolutely massive difference maker for small podcasts. It is the way we get traction pretty much at all. And if you're having fun listening to us idiots talk about our Destiny hot takes, why not share it with your friends who also may enjoy the same stupid shit that you do for some reason.
Exactly. And with all that, thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye. I love you.